Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to another installment of that thing. Wheelin Wednesday. Wheelin Wednesday. The wheels are wise. The wheels picked Argentum at Oblivion, and I thought, that's great. I don't feel like I've had enough wheel time on him, and I know he doesn't take a lot of work to get going, so I'll just go out there and I'll wheel it around. And then I pulled him down off of his little garage, and I thought to myself, he feels really underdamped in the front. The click is back, by the way. The Vanquish click, no changes made to that at all. So the click is an independent operator. It decides when it's going to come and when it's going to go. So it picked Argentum, and I was like, that's easy stuff. And then I had a counter thought to that, which is, well, now what do? I just talked about him in a rig breakdown, like, 5 days ago. So the universe, it collaborated with the wheels to even that out. Because as I mentioned, when I took him out of his garage, it felt like there was no damping in the front end. So I was like, well, his shocks have not been tended to at all since he was built. Maybe just a little oil has leaked out. There's the horror story on the internets about those incision shocks leaking. And this is effectively a launch edition Phoenix. I got it right when they came out. So I thought for sure, I make strides not to be an early adopter, but I wanted to have it, so I bought it. And I was worried that I was going to have the leaky shocks. Instead, I get the clicky transmission instead of the leaky shocks, which, you know what? I think I'll take it. So I go ahead and I pull all 4 shocks off so I can get a better look at them. And honestly, they don't look that bad. Driver front was the only one that was kind of low. And I mean, they were all low, right? But low in the terms of the tire pressure thing in your car yells at you, and then you go and you check them, and they're all down 3 psi. So it was that sort of thing. Except driver front needed a bit of refilling. So I grabbed the bottle of the Giganto bottle of Factory Team 40 weight, topped it off, put it back together. It didn't feel quite right. And I know he had 40 in him before. So I thought, that's weird. Not a problem though. It's, I got 2 powered screwdrivers, so pulled the bottom out, pulled them out again, get the shocks out, pumped that 40 weight. I didn't bother to clean them out or anything. The oil looked pretty good. Drain out the 40 weight and filled them with 50. And as I'm putting them back on, I'm trying to be as lazy as humanly possible as is in my nature. So I have him, I don't even have the body off. I have him flipped upside down on his head, and I'm putting the shocks back on, and I notice the lean, I usually do my turn to the extreme lock and check the difference in distance between like driver front and passenger front relative to the frame rail to some fixed point. And there's definitely more shock lean. It's leaning out to the driver's side. Generally an indicator that the panhard bar is too short, which is unusual to be sure, as I have not changed any of those parts. And I was trying to think, what manner of change have I made that could adversely affect that? So I just decide to go as easily at it as possible. Oh, can we take this? Here's the anti-foam test. So I think, well, it looks like it's about 3 millimeters off. So I'll dig around in the bin and I'll find, of course, 2. You gotta find 2. So I'll find a link that is about 3 millimeters longer, and then I'll just put a new panhard bar in, and this should remedy any nose askew issues, right? That's the general attack. So digging through the bins, I find another one of those Vanquish tapered links that comes with the kit, and I think, awesome, we're set, we're good to go. And then I think, of course, you know, panhard steer link are they're like this, so you got to find 2. I find 2, and this is when I notice that the panhard and the steer link are the exact same length. It's the exact same link, which perhaps explains why the front end is so composed and why the steering works so well, et cetera, because that's the goal. Your goal is really to get those links, if not the exact same length, as close to the same length as possible. I put everything back on, everything fits right, and then it gets me to wondering, did I build it with the wrong link from the very beginning? But I couldn't have, because the steer link and the panhard bar were the exact same length. There's no combination of links that would have come out of the kit that would have made it possible for me to build it wrong. Like, there would be a steer link of a length and a panhard bar of a length. Somehow I had both links were about 3 millimeters too short for, like, I guess what you would call optimal geometry, to where it sits right in the front. So I have no, well, I have no reasonable explanation for that. I don't know what happened. All I know is, let me put it to you this way. I did what you're supposed to do, which is in combination with something that we never do. That being, I made one change at once. When I got the antifoams, I put them in and I made no other changes to the rig. Aside from that time around, I can't remember, honestly. Wait, rewind. It was when I built Eddie. It was when I built the straight axled Phoenix and found out that relocating the battery up there to the front really helps the bias. I swapped because he used to have the battery in the stock position, which is kind of wasted stuff running these tiny little 1500s. So I moved the battery up to the front. But again, I'm like racking my brain here. I did not make any setup or suspension changes at that time. So I'm still wondering how I got the panhard bars so far over. I don't know, do you hear the click? I think I still hear it. I can't really tell. So anyway, when you make one change at a time, you should be able to isolate what worked and what you broke. But I cannot, for the life of me, figure out how I got the wrong, well, what is in my mind the wrong panhard and the wrong drag link. Unless that's just the way they came, and some part of the setup that I have makes them too short. I've no idea. I have no idea. All I know is it's fixed now. So while I was at it and while I had them apart, I started on, yeah, dig is really good on these. It's so good. I started on the, what is it? The 24, 48, 96, the 192 bolt shuffle, changing out the standard hardware for scale hardware. And as I was getting into it, I changed the bolts that hold the hubs on, and then just quit. I'm trying some real off, there we go. Still, man, it shot that rear end down. I'm trying to get it more out of shape because I want to see if 50. I went up to 50 in the front. If I didn't mention, don't you yell at me? And I can't remember if I mentioned that. I think I mentioned it. Yeah, he feels super good. And the tusks with the antifoams in them is pretty great. They kind of, look at that. There it is. So good. This is what comes with wheeling over time. No substitute for wheel time, whatever they say. I am definitely still learning to drive these things, for sure. And because did you stop yelling at me? Because there's such a crew here. I mentioned it yesterday. When you set the controller down for one and pick up the controller for another, it's often such a radically different experience. Just in terms of throttle feel, steering response, how it reacts to whether it's going to tip. And this is something that I've come to embrace, that they are very different, all of them. Even if I have a Phoenix up against a Phoenix, like I've got I've got two portal and a straight axle, but of course none of them are even remotely similar. One's got a TRX4 sport camper body, the other one's got a killer body Marauder 2 on it. This guy is the only guy that's like Phoenix, which we'll take a moment here to address. I've mentioned it in a couple comments. People have asked what's my opinion on the unveiling of the RTR Phoenix, and my response to that is this. As I have said in the comments, in effectively these exact words, I get it, but it doesn't mean I have to like it. Because to me, Vanquish means kits, but I understand that the biggest market share, most of the market is RTRs. That's why, as I've said, you can go on AMain, make sure whatever you do, unless you want to get deeply depressed, don't search for in-stock items only. Just go into the kits. I mean, it's just listed as kits. Go into that section and look at the number of RTRs versus the number of kits. I think it's about 5 to 1 RTRs to kits. There's somewhere right in the neighborhood of around 50 kits, but a bunch of those are 1/24th. I think in 10th scale kits, there's it might be 35 tops. Because if I sit down and I try to think about it, Traxxas has two. They've got the sport kit and the scale and trail kit, which it's like kind of a kit. It's just basically, there's like no body with it, but they give you the servos and the electronics, so that's not really a kit. So Traxxas has 1.5 kits. Element has 2. They've got the gatekeeper kit and the builder's kit. And we all keep our fingers tightly crossed for Builder's Kit 3. Vanquish, up until very recently, and I mean still as of this video still, because it's not available yet, but Vanquish was just exclusively kits, and now there's that one RTR in there. So to me, I've been a guy since when I started, there were only kits. That was your only choice. And I remember feeling pretty much the same way when the first wave of RTRs started to appear. As I have said, love them or hate them, and there's a special place in my heart for Traxxas, but they are, I don't know if I would go so far as to say wholly responsible, but they bear a lot of responsibility for the RTR movement. Like they made the RTR super popular And we went from a time when Team Associated, which was what Element, you know, was and is, there was no such thing as an associated RTR. It was something you built. It was the same way with Losi. And now they've gone the way of the RTR. I mean, that's the times. The times, they are a-changing, but at the same time, everything old is new again. So it doesn't surprise me to see Vanquish offering an RTR. I mean, if anything, it makes sense. It is the big part of the market, and there are people that still have this, like they find the notion of building a kit, starting with nothing, just a bunch of parts in a bag. They find that daunting. And then there's also that, I don't know what electronics to buy. I have not yet found an instance that myself personally consider any RTR to not, okay, with a few limited instances, I would classify the RTR movement as the false economy, because I have said it only half in jest, but many times in the past. The RTR is great for my endpoint. This is okay. We're in two-wheel drive. We have no front-wheel drive right here. There we go. Because I need to adjust that endpoint. I've said that the advantage of the RTR for a manufacturer is they can charge you $100 more for at most $15 worth more stuff. So for them, it's great. Yeah, just a little. This goes back to, I mentioned it in another video. This goes back to the rebinding. I bound this guy's radio to the kernel and vice versa. So I had to reset all the endpoints, and I'm having nothing but problems because none of the endpoints, like I had the endpoints set perfectly, and I'm definitely not that type of guy that's gonna sit down and jot down a diary of rig settings. So if a radio gets smashed or I have to start something, I get to start from scratch. I don't remember what anything was. Oh, hello. A big part of the time I can't remember what oil weight is in the shocks, what pinions on the motor, stuff like that. That fire truck in a hurry. So I'm certainly not going to remember things like what oil did I put in the shocks, what are my endpoint settings for channel 4 on this rig. No idea. I can tell you right now, 40% this way, 35% the other way. Also, can somebody out there tell me, here's a request for the comments. So this way is RBD and this way is LFU. What the hell does that mean? I genuinely don't know. So I feel like this episode was this is top tier Wheelin Wednesday. Got some wheeling time on the old Phoenix portal here. Whoa, hey. And what a beautiful day for it. I don't know about anybody else, and I think perhaps spoiled as a lifelong resident of this particular Minecraft biome, but like this is my kind of day. Look at that. That's a beautiful day to me. We get too many days of the just horizon to horizon blue sky with nothing in it. And those days are generally either very hot or very cold. So today, it's not bad. We're like right around 60 degrees. This is a good day, despite the fact I have a giant tree I need to cut up. I should be cutting up a giant tree right now. The big eucalyptus, I might have mentioned it before, we're having a real bad couple of years for trees. The eucalyptus died some years ago. That thing that eucalyptus get where like beetles come and eat it from the inside or whatever. That happened to our eucalyptus, and one year it lost its leaves in the winter, and then it was just dead. Like branches just started falling off of it. So we got it topped, we got it cut way down. There's just like a 3-fingered thing sticking up out of the middle. It used to be a 5-fingered thing sticking up out of the middle, but one of them fell off and wiped out part of the, we had like a tree house that kind of surrounded. So like a deck that's around the tree. It wasn't actually physically attached to the tree. It just kind of surrounded it. So one of the big fingers fell off and took part of the deck down with it. So I figured might as well get whatever salvageable lumber is out of there before the rest of it starts falling down. And I was working from the ladder side, which is what I call the back, the north side of the treehouse towards the front. Had it all pulled out. I'm pulling their posts. 8 posts on post bases were what held up the deck. And I'm working my way across those, and I'm pulling some deck screws out of one of the pieces. And the tree made that sound that dead trees make when they're going to try to kill you, and it went like... And I looked over my shoulder, and a branch of the tree about, I don't know, 40 feet long, just kind of sheared off the main trunk of the tree, fell down and drove a chain link gate about 3 feet into the ground. But it didn't kill me, so, you know, positives. I'm still alive. Look at that go. So I need to be cutting that up. Oh, and when you cut it, you get the chainsaw fired up and you're cutting through it. It's literally that you can get it at the Dollar Tree or like at a Joann's. There's that dark green foam. I think they call it craft foam. It's for like floral foam. Cutting through that tree with a chainsaw feels like cutting through floral foam. The center of the tree is like it's dark orange floral foam. Yeah, you can break it apart with your hands and it's very crumbly. So in the amount of time that what was left of the tree was left standing, the termites just came and ate it up. So before Wheelin Wednesday spills over into Wheelin Thursday, I'm gonna make a little wrap here around the, okay, we're gonna try something fun here in the outro. I'm gonna thank you all for watching. I'm gonna invite you all to comment below and to like and subscribe and consider a membership to the channel and all of the things that we do in closing. And as I'm doing that, I mean, I guess I just did it. I'm gonna try to drive around in a counterclockwise circle and come back out directly under where it says excessive slope. But the problem is, I'm seated on my bucket chair and I cannot see anything back there, nor can I remember what it looks like really. So, okay, he's out of shot for me. I can hear him a little. Oh, I cut in too tight. Look at this. Hey, hey, hey. I have no idea what happened back there. He could have been doing his own thing. Thanks for, oh, brought a little pepper tree with him. Thanks for stopping by, everybody. It's nice to have you here in the canyon. To quote Pink Floyd, we wish you were here. It's a great place to be. Truly it is. So, I do hope you enjoyed your visit. I hope you will consider tuning in for whatever comes next. I hope you all do your very best between now and between then, the infamous then. Have a good one, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you the day after. We'll see you sometime. Yeah, kind of petered out, but we'll catch you next time, everybody.